My name is Ed Boone. I am the creative director for Mortal Kombat for Midway Games.
My name is Sean Hemrick. I'm the producer for Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks.
Well, Shaolin Monks didn't actually start in Midway, Chicago.
Paradox Development came to us and kind of pitched the concept of this game without Mortal Kombat attached, and when we saw the fighting engine, Ed really liked it, and we started talking about it. It was originally Raiden. Ed really kind of wanted to gravitate that towards some other characters.
So I suggested Liu Kang and Kung Lao together at the same time, the Shaolin Monks, and I thought it was a lot more of an appropriate fit.
And that kind of blew everyone away a little bit at first because nobody's ever done this kind of game co-op with all these moves, aerial acrobatics, and the speed of the game. It's always had to be like Gauntlet style or Baldur's Gate where it's slow, no jumping. One of the things we implemented that really helped was we have a block and lock on. It's the same button. So you're able to block and lock on. So you can actually almost make this game feel like MK2 because you can pick a character to lock onto and almost have that 2D feel to it and do your moves and do all the super moves. But then we added this three-dimensional aspect where, okay, I'm locked onto this guy, but I can push the controller stick back the other way and do a completely different move behind me, take this guy out who's hassling me, but then stay locked onto the boss or whoever I want right in front of me.
Then the Mortal Kombat, art directors kind of got involved. It seemed appropriate to kind of set it in the time of Mortal Kombat 2, and then we got like a mock-up going with some of the graphics from Mortal Kombat 2, kind of looking at them in 3D, and then everybody kind of got this nostalgic feel of, oh wow, it's, the armory, the evil monastery, and all of the kind of familiar settings in 3D, and that got everybody really excited about that.
Dealing with the MK2 part of this game has been a lot of pressure in that everything has to be right. One of the huge advantages we have is the guys in our LA studio, our lead designer, the boss battle designer, and many of the other guys on the team are MK2 fans.
They had a Mortal Kombat 2 arcade machine there. They had all the books in front of them, and they clearly were, they had taken their prerequisite course for Mortal Kombat 2.
So they would remember things about the game Ed had already forgotten.
They were very receptive to to my suggestions. They had a great fighting engine as a base to start with. In terms of gameplay features, again, I really pushed this whole two-player thing, and at first, it was very difficult to get it functioning, the way that we wanted it played. So there was a lot of experimenting with that, but like I said, the guys in Midway LA are they had a very clear vision as to what they wanted to do with their puzzle system. They wanted to do stuff with the bodies, and
kind of the core thing we took with this game was MK2. We wanted to center it around this multi-directional combat system. Because it's MK, we started a lot with the combat system right off the top. It's one of the things we liked best about the Paradox demo was that it had this great fight mechanic. Ed actually got involved with some of the guys, designing it and actually tweaked some of the engine himself, like change that, help this, help that.
Cutting guys in half, which opened the door here and there, and that I always thought that was a great angle from there. So from my perspective, I really just focused in on the immediate game experience that the player would have. How accessible are the controls? Then it just became the visuals and the audio, all the backgrounds, all the characters. We wanted all the MK2 characters to play a role in there.
So one of the jokes we have is if it was in MK2, it's in this game in some way. All the backgrounds, all the characters, a lot of the secrets, even some of the bugs we pulled into the game and used in another way. There was always the rumors of the trees can eat people. I remember seeing people in arcades and I tried throwing people into those trees and every which way to get people in those trees. We made that like a whole puzzle in the forest. That is just a feature now in the game. Then there were things like that, okay, hey, we all hey, this character's cool, we want this character in the game, but it doesn't really fit into the MK2 storyline. Because a lot of the fans, they want to know more about this story, we couldn't just start throwing things in that didn't make sense.
So we got a story writer. He kind of, we gave him all the points of data and said this is what the story we had before, and just kind of elaborate on some of these areas that we just kind of touched on in a fighting game. This game has hidden stuff in droves. I haven't even seen all of the hidden stuff that's in the game. It's up there with Deception in terms of how much content is just kind of buried in the game.
And then there are a lot of characters you just come across in the game, characters you just fully expect. Johnny Cage is a good guy, so you actually have a whole level of the game where you're doing basically cooperative missions with him. Whether you're doing single player or co-op mode, you'll be doing then 2 or 3 people helping through the level with him. You come across, bad guys from Mortal Kombat history. You come across Reptile, of course, he's a boss battle. Katana Melina Jade is one of my favorite boss fights because it's 3 bosses at once, which is something you've never seen in Mortal Kombat before.
You know, between all those 3 things, presentation, story, and fight mechanic, that's how we kind of mixed it together. I'd like to personally see the franchise go into different genres of games. You know, it's kind of scary when you do that because there is like a science to doing each type of these games. You know, I think people who do RPG games, you know, the big ones have been doing it for, 10 years now. The people who've been doing fighting games have been doing it for 10 years. I'm very comfortable in the whole fighting game category, but when you branch off into these adventure games, it's a little intimidating. But at the same time, I think it's necessary. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks comes out this fall for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox.